Death toll in Jigar tanker explosion climbs to 153 as federal delegation visits victims. Artificial petrol scarcity hits Bauchi metropolis. Nigerians decry frequent travels by President Tinubu and Vice President. On the foreign scene, EU leaders summit meeting opens with more tightened migration policy in the works. Hello and welcome to Trust TV's News Hour. I am Chiamaka Mwafo. Let's get to the news. We'll start with the delegation from the federal government led by the Secretary to State Government George Akome Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akome, on Thursday visited Jigar State to offer condolences to the government and people of the state following the recent petrol tanker explosion in Majia town of Taura local government area. The tragic incident has resulted in the loss of over 150 lives. The SGF was accompanied by several high-ranking officials, including the Minister of Defense, Muhammad Baduru Abubakar, Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Abdulaziz Abdul Fattah, and the Director General of NEMA, among other dignitaries. Here's the report. During the visit, the delegation inspected the scene of the explosion and visited a hospital where some victims were receiving treatment. They described the incident as devastating, expressing the solidarity of President Bola Tinubu with the people of Jigawa as the death toll climbed to 166.
The president is saddened by these unfortunate developments, and he has already directed some agencies to move into action, like NEMA DG is also all here. They have already started work, and another agency is going to follow suit. He has also promised that whatever the state government is doing, the federal government will also complement that effort.
Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Abdulaziz Abdul Fattah, emphasized the commitment of the nation's governors to collaborate with the federal government in reviewing road safety protocols to protect lives and property on Nigeria's highways.
It's about more information dissemination in our communities about the danger of tanker explosion, oil spillage, containment. So it's about passing more information about the dangers and hazards of this thing, which will deepen and continue to do. But all I can say is that
the president has shown a lot of love for us. He has shown a lot of concern for our people. And I think it is important we appreciate Mr. President for what he has done to us. And we thank him very much. And we pray that Allah will continue to guide him in the leadership of this country.
The delegation, which included the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akome, paid a visit to the Emir's Palace in Ringim to extend their condolences to the entire emirate over the tragedy. Still on the explosion, 16 victims from the explosion in the Majia town of Taura local government area have been transferred to Kano State. The 16 victims who sustained severe injuries as a result of the incident are currently hospitalized at the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital. Checks at the hospital revealed that while the victims are receiving adequate care from health workers at the facility, their relatives are outside in anticipation of their quick recovery. One of the affected victims, Muhammad Shaibu Majay, who is a former House of Assembly member representing Majay local government area, said he lost a son to the inferno while one other is currently receiving treatment. He therefore commended the government of Jigar State for taking full responsibility of the patient's bill and upkeep. The incident occurred at about 11 p.m. on Tuesday when a petrol tanker en route from Kano to Nguru in Yobe State lost control and crashed, spilling its contents. As residents gathered to scoop fuel, the tanker exploded, resulting in a massive inferno that has claimed no fewer than 150 lives. Over in Bauchi State, additional fuel scarcity has hit the metropolis as customers continue lamenting on the situation despite hiking the price of the commodity. Trust TV Adamu Imam went round the state capital to get an overview of the current situation in some fueling station. Here's more in his report.
Nigerians continue to lament on the lingering fuel crisis in many parts of the country, coupled with the high cost of essential commodities. In Bauchi State, northeast Nigeria, the story is the same, as customers accuse the authority concerned for allowing artificial fuel scarcity within the state capital. We realize that they always close the filling stations. We are on queue. On reaching us, they notify us that the product has finished, which is untrue. And now we are in this station. We don't know how we could get the fuel now. We may have to buy from black marketers. We pray for God intervention on the situation. We visited 5 filling stations so far. We couldn't get the product. Honestly, there is fuel, but they created artificial scarcity to suffer us. Just to satisfy their selfish interest, we are on queue again. We are struggling to buy the fuel even if we live here. The story is the same elsewhere. So authorities should look at the plight of the masses, please.
The government, they have to look for their people. We are very suffering in this country. About this fuel, anything is off now. Nothing is in this country. But the leaders, we apologize to them. Please, please and please. They have to look for the country, the people of the country.
Effort to get Independent Petroleum Marketers Association (IPMAN) to respond to the situation was unsuccessful at the time of the report. Some residents who spoke off camera while on queue at one of the filling stations visited said Nigerian government is not sincere with the masses. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now, the absence of both the President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shatima has sparked widespread concern over the leadership vacuum in Nigeria, a nation where the executive holds the reins of power. With Tinubu at the helm and Shatima expected to step in during his absence, many Nigerians are questioning the stability and continuity of governance in their absence. Trust TV's Dorcas Yakubu spoke to citizens who expressed their fears about the nation's leadership drift.
President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shatima have both left Nigeria, sparking heated debate among Nigerians. Tinubu jetted off to the UK on October 2nd, 2024 for a 2-week working leave, while Shatima headed to Sweden for a 2-day visit on bilateral engagements. Their departures have raised eyebrows, especially as the nation grapples with a cost of living crisis, soaring inflation, and the recent tanker explosion tragedy in Jigawa State. Many are questioning the timing of their absences amid these pressing issues.
The VP traveling out of the country makes us look like a headless nation, and it is not proper. I don't know how the National Assembly will be looking at it, how the president and the vice will be out of the country at the same moment. Is it a senior president that is now the head of government? So these are not proper. This is democracy, and it shouldn't be on personal frivolities.
The president and the vice president, I think they don't have feelings for a common man. When fuel prices have gone far, food prices, you cannot transfer anywhere.
With some expressing discontent over their absence, Mark Adu, a resident of Abuja, has a varying opinion.
What does that got to do with the hardship of the country? One, the finance minister, the central bank, all the other stakeholders that are in charge of the economy, they are on ground. Then when you are looking at president, he is the head. Everything lies on him, right? All the other troubles that are happening in the country rise clearly on him. But is he the one that is organizing or prioritizing the economy? No.
Amid growing complaints about the absence of President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shatima, the presidency has dismissed concerns, stating on Wednesday that their absence does not create a leadership vacuum. According to the statement, both leaders remain fully engaged with the nation's affairs even while away. However, Barrister Sunday disagreed, criticizing their absence during a time when the country faces significant challenges.
The law has not envisaged a situation where the president will be absent from the country and the vice president will at the same time be absent from the country. There is the need for a law to be put in place where neither the president nor the vice president would be away from the country at the same time. Unfortunately, we do not have, this is my own opinion, a National Assembly that can champion this law that will have that will see the light of the day. It is most unfortunate that today, as a country, and I think Nigeria is the only country where this is being experienced. The United States of America would never contemplate a situation where neither the president or the vice president would be within the United States of America to preside over the affairs of things.
Despite the president's reassurances, the physical presence of the president and vice president remains crucial, not just for decision-making, but for maintaining national morale and bolstering international confidence. Their leadership on the ground is seen as vital in these uncertain times. Dorcas Yakubu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In recent months, President Bola Tinubu's frequent foreign trips have sparked growing frustration among Nigerians as the country battles with economic uncertainty. Many view these travels as ill-timed and disconnected from the present domestic challenge. Abdullahi Ahmed breaks down the reasons behind the president's frequent trips abroad and why they are becoming increasingly unpopular in this period of economic hardship.
Amid Nigeria's spiraling cost of living, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shatima have collectively spent over 91 days outside the country in just 7 months. They have touched down in 16 countries, and all this comes at a staggering cost of 18.7 billion naira allocated in the 2024 budget for presidential travels. From France to Ethiopia, Qatar to China, the itinerary is long. In January, the president kicked things off with a private visit to France. By February, he was in Ethiopia for the African Union's 37th Assembly. By April, it was a whirlwind. Visits to Senegal for an inauguration, Netherlands for high-level talks, then the World Economic Forum in Saudi Arabia, all within a month. In May, it was Chad for another inauguration. June saw the president in South Africa for President Ramaphosa's swearing in, and by July, the president had attended the African Union's coordination meeting in Ghana. Now, then came Equatorial Guinea, another work trip to France, and a UAE stopover back in August this year. In September, there was another official visit to China, followed by a United Kingdom meeting with King Charles. And just this month, he's back in France, fresh off another annual leave in the United Kingdom. While diplomacy and securing international deals are essential, critics are asking, at what cost? With 12 billion naira earmarked specifically for these international trips and 6.7 billion naira set aside for local travels, groups like the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center are demanding transparency, especially for private visits when Nigerians are struggling with skyrocketing inflation. The presidency argues that these trips will soon bear fruit with investments on the way. But many Nigerians want tangible results, not just promises.
Over 2 months after President Tinubu signed the 70,000 naira minimum wage bill into law, many state governments and private sector employers have yet to implement it. Concerns are growing that this delay could be a tactic to negotiate for a lower wage than what was approved. Experts warn that further delays will hurt workers' productivity, especially as they grapple with rising economic challenges across the country. Ibrahim Ismail has more in this report.
The National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) reported a spike in Nigeria's inflation rate to 32.70% in September 2024, worsening the financial strain on workers. This situation is made worse by the failure of some state governments and private employers to implement the new minimum wage. We spoke to government and private sector employees in Abuja about how they are managing to cope during these challenging times.
Because we can't even afford going to work 3 days in a week. It's now twice. Sometimes that 2 days is just by His grace. You understand? Because of the way things are. So many things has gone high. Feeding, people are finding it difficult to feed. You know, transportation from here, from Jabi here to Use Market now is 500 naira. It's very, very, you know, it's not something people, the poor masses cannot even breathe. Let the poor breathe is no longer let the poor breathe. In fact, what we are seeing now is let the poor die. That is what we are seeing now.
You know, when we have a system that has put in place that, you know, the salary or the minimum wage should be reviewed and it's not been implemented, it's crazy. You get, check it right now that the cost of fuel currently is impacting on a lot of things. And it's so crazy. It's just so alarming. It's pathetic. You get, because now transportation alone has, let me not even use the word triple, it has doubled. Like, it has even gone up 4 times than the initial price.
Government should create an enabling environment for the private sector to function and thrive too. Because someone who owns a business cannot be losing, cannot be paying much tax, and you're expecting the person to also increase the salaries of the people's salary. The taxation is too much on the private sector.
While a section of Nigerian workers wait for the implementation of the 70,000 naira new minimum wage, some analysts say the wage increase will have less impact due to the high inflation rate.
But I think for state government, they actually need to be very ingenious in ensuring that workers are able to maintain or improve on their productivity. And one of these is to start the implementation of the new minimum wage without further delay. Because even if you say workers should come to work 3 times a week, that will inversely affect productivity in those states. It means that there will be no revenue, there will be no enough revenue collection, and productivity will reduce substantially.
While states like Lagos, Ogun, Ondo, Kogi and Gombe have begun paying above the approved minimum wage, many others are still in negotiations with labor unions. Amid the harsh economic conditions, these delays only worsen the plight of Nigerian workers. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Abuja.
On October 2nd, 2024, Justice Evelyn Maha of the Federal High Court in Abuja issued an order restraining the Directorate of Road Traffic Services, VIO, from stopping, impounding or confiscating vehicles on the road. The ruling also prohibits the agency from imposing fines on motorists. Trust TV's Dorcas Yakubu spoke to motorists in Abuja who welcomed the decision with relief.
The judgment by Justice Evelyn Maha followed a fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by human rights activist and attorney Abubakar Marshall. Justice Maha ruled in favor of the applicant, affirming that the VIO has no legal authority to stop, impound, confiscate vehicles or impose fines on motorists. Motorists in Abuja, speaking with Trust TV, applauded the ruling, noting that vehicle inspection officers have been adhering to the court's decision.
Yes, so far so good. They're complying. And I'm very happy with the verdict. I think they should go and rest. Yes, they've been working very hard over the years. They should just go and rest.
They are complying. But actually for now, I even love the new job they gave themselves now. Like when you get to Karo CBN Junction, you will see their halos being parked at the side of the road. Like during the rush hour, they help in terms of controlling traffic. So that's what I can tell about the Karo VIO. So they don't harass anybody anymore. What they do is they are on the junction to control the traffic when it's rush hour.
Yes, I like the ruling. And the reason why I like the ruling is that the way they are terrorizing the motorists is something else.
Actually, they are complying in the FCT, but you see they're standing on the roadside, but they don't talk to anyone.
But they can only, sometimes you see them controlling, telling you, follow this side or do this. But they don't ask for particulars or anything.
A motorist has called for a similar judgment to be extended to the Federal Road Safety Commission after his car was partly damaged by one of its officers. He urged the courts to hold the agency accountable for such actions.
And road safety, as I showed you, road safety now breaks my side mirror. That be this one. I don't tell the guy, I don't mark him. I tell him, say, you they work for federal government, I be working with sense. As you break my side mirror, I not talk.
The court ruling is a significant development in the discourse on law enforcement and the protection of citizens' rights in Nigeria. While it addresses potential abuses of power and ensures that agencies do not exceed their mandates, it also raises questions about how to maintain effective traffic law enforcement. As the ruling unfolds, it will be essential for other regulatory bodies to fill the gap and for the relevant authorities to implement more streamlined and transparent processes to ensure both public safety and respect for citizens' rights. Dorcas Yakubu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
One person has been reportedly injured after a car exploded at a gas station in Eyan Auchi Road in Benin City, Edo State. It was gathered that the gas-powered vehicle was being filled when it exploded at a CNG station on Wednesday afternoon. Videos circulating online show the damage done to the vehicle following the explosion. A federal high court in Abuja on Thursday adjourned a 2 billion naira fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by former caretaker chairman of Southern Niger local government of Bayelsa State, Lucky Okode, until November 28. Justice Binta Nyako adjourned the case following an oral application by Okode's counsel, Asmao Yunusa, to enable her respond to a counter affidavit filed by Mimi Ayua, lawyer to the Chief of Defense, General Christopher Musa. According to the suit filed on May 3 by Femi Falana SAN, had sued the CDS Musa and Chief of Army Staff Taurid Lawaja as first and second respondents. The applicant is accusing the defendant of allegedly publishing his photograph among those wanted in connection to the killing of 17 soldiers in Ukwama in Delta State. He therefore prayed the court to award 2 billion naira in damages against the respondents for the alleged violation of his rights to personal liberty and dignity. The applicant also prayed the court to set aside his declaration and award the fine as compensation for damages suffered over the action of the defense headquarters in Abuja. Justice Nyako, however, told the lawyer who represented the CDS, Mimi Ayua and Yunusa, that the issue is what the parties can sit down together to resolve amicably. The Nigerian Air Force NAF says all arrangements have been made to take delivery of 50 brand new aircraft between December 2024 and 2026. It also vowed that despite achieving successes in ensuring adversaries wreaking havoc in different zones of the country are being taken out every day, air troops will still step up their operations. The Chief of Air Staff, Hassan Abubakar, disclosed this at NAF headquarters, Abuja, when he met with branch chiefs, air commanding officers and commanders to review the activities of the force. The force had a few months ago taken into its inventory some aircraft, including fighter jets and Super Tucano. Speaking before the meeting went into a closed door, the Air Chief explained that the development became imperative in order to sustain the already expanded counterinsurgency operation in the Northwest. He revealed that a number of resolutions and recommendations after the same meeting was held in June have been implemented. According to him, these include the establishment of 2 new staff branches, the Civil Military Relations Branch and NAF Transformation and Innovation Branch. The Delta State Police Command has issued a stern warning to point-of-sale POS operators against handling transactions above 500,000 naira, cautioning that such dealings would involve them in criminal activities, particularly kidnappings. The warning was delivered by the state's public relations officer, SP Bright Dafe, in a video shared on Thursday morning. Although the identities of the suspects in questions were not revealed, the video captured the police questioning 2 suspects, kidnappers, involved in using POS transactions to transfer and collect ransom money. Adafe warned that POS operators who engage in large transactions could inadvertently become tools for criminals, especially kidnappers, to launder ransom payments.
There is an element of crime in it because they are supposed to go to the bank. This lady here was contacted by this suspect who collected her account number, her POS account number, and sent 4 million naira into the account. 4 million naira that was taken from a suspect, from a victim who was kidnapped. 4 million naira ransom money. And she said her own profit was 40,000 naira. Madam, be very brief. Who is this man? Come now. Why are you still sitting there? Who collected your account number?
Timothy.
Timothy?
Yes.
Who is Timothy?
Timothy Ogenochukwu, my customer.
Is it this man?
Yes.
Touch him now. Say, see, this is Timothy.
This is Timothy.
Timothy. But you say when they do business together before now. What kind of business? Explain what it be local fraud.
Local fraud process where we say bomb Facebook, cash all those women.
Who they do like okay now you they do local fraud. Yes. But which fraud you feel say they do?
All those ones they say they do fraud. And we just know when they do that.
They use gun they do fraud.
When we say yeah.
They use gun they do fraud.
And yeah before they do.
They use gun they do fraud.
We go to the National Assembly, where senators have unanimously passed a vote of confidence on the leadership of the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio. The assurances of loyalty to the leadership of Akpabio by the senators followed social media reports on Wednesday that some aggrieved senators from the north had planned to impeach the Senate President. Here's the report.
Raising a point of order on the floor of Thursday's plenary, a former leader of the Senate, Yahaya Abdullahi, drew the attention of his colleagues to a publication which claimed that northern senators were behind the impeachment plot against Akpabio. The senator claimed that such an allegation was a breach of his constitutional right as a citizen and lawmaker representing Kebbi North. He said the allegation that northern senators were plotting Akpabio's removal has put a dent on his reputation and integrity. Senator Abdullahi said he has never conceived such ideas, adding that he had consulted his colleagues from the north and they expressed shock and disbelief that such happened.
A senior member of this chamber and also a senior member of the northern senators. And I can assure you that there has been no attempt that I know of.
A cross-section of lawmakers passed a confidence vote on the entire leadership of the 10th Senate.
Without consulting my friends, my colleagues from the north, that I move that will enforce a vote of confidence in both you, the Senate President, and the Deputy Senate President, and the entire leadership.
As a combination, as moved by the single Senator Abdullahi, that this Senate do vote a confidence vote in the leadership of the Senate and the entire leadership of the Senate under the single Senator Godswill Akpabio, the common president of the 10th Senate. I so second.
In his remarks, Senator Akpabio expressed gratitude for the support from his colleagues and assured them of his intention to provide good leadership.
In a very humble way, I feel humbled, but I'm obligated to put the question. Those who support that this vote of confidence on the Senate leadership be carried, say aye. Those again, say nay. They are not here. The ayes have it.
On Wednesday, the social media was awash with reports alleging that some senators of northern extraction had planned to impeach the Senate president.
Tomorrow's story, back to the National Assembly. The House of Representatives has called on the federal government through the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning to review the budgetary allocation for the Bureau of Public Procurement in future budget estimates. This adjustment is deemed necessary to align with current realities and enable the Bureau to effectively fulfill its core mandate. For this and other stories from the floor of the House, here is it.
In a resolution following a motion raised by Representative Unyemeidem, the House also urged the Bureau of Public Procurement to collaborate with key stakeholders, including ministries, departments, agencies, civil society organizations, and the National Assembly. Presenting the motion, Idem noted that the Bureau's budgetary allocation in the 2024 Appropriation Act is 2.2 billion naira. He expressed concern that this amount is insufficient to support the Bureau's extensive responsibilities, which include procurement audit, monitoring and surveillance across MDAs in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Idem further highlighted the rising instances of procurement irregularities in the public sector, emphasizing the urgent need for effective oversight to ensure transparency, competitiveness, professionalism, and value for money in public procurement processes.
Also concerned that given the prevailing trend of procurement corruption in Nigeria, constituting over 70% of corruption in the public procurement sector, there is an increasing need to ensure the implementation of procurement policies and due process compliance in line with global best practices.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill to amend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 1999 as amended to create a new state in the South-South region to be known as Ogoja State, along with related matters.
The principle of equity, which of course is a substantial of the existence of the Nigerian state, in the light of the multifaceted challenges we face. Mr. Speaker, on that note, I will enjoin my very dear colleagues to support this bill to be read the second time.
Additionally, the House passed for second reading a bill aimed at making it mandatory for government, ministries, departments, and agencies to prioritize the procurement of locally made products, goods, and services. Representing Obi Agwocha, while leading the debate on the bill's general principle, he said the bill also seeks to repeal the Local Content Act of 2010 and enact new provisions requiring MDAs to give priority to local manufacturers and indigenous companies in the procurement of good works and services.
To prohibit the exclusion of locally produced goods in the procurement process, to repeal Local Content Act of 2010 and enact a bill to make it mandatory for ministries, departments, and agencies to give priority to local manufacturers, indigenous companies in the procurement of goods and services, and prohibit the exclusion of locally produced goods in the procurement process and for related matters.
He said the bill also prohibits the exclusion of locally produced goods in procurement processes. The bill encompasses HBs 85, 1007, and 1330, is aimed at strengthening the support for local manufacturers and indigenous companies in government procurement.
Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas has highlighted the importance of credible, non-partisan media in supporting the 10th House's goal of creating a National Assembly that truly reflects the people's aspirations. He made this statement while hosting a delegation of Media Trust Group at the National Assembly, stressing the need for partnership. Trust TV's Segre Ibrahim reports.
Among the delegation from the Media Trust Group were the Group Chief Executive Officer, Ahmed Shekaro, Chief Operating Officer of Trust TV, Ibrahim Shehu, and General Editor of the Daily Trust, Stella Iyaji, along with other senior members of staff from the media conglomerate. In his remarks, the Group CEO of Media Trust, Ahmed Shekaro, extended heartfelt congratulations to the Speaker on his recent conferment of the National Honor of Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, GCON, by the President. He also commended Speaker Abbas for his leadership of the 10th House of Representatives. The Group CEO emphasized the need for collaboration between the Media Trust and the House of Representatives to amplify the activities of the National Assembly. Hence, the group's decision to invite the House leader to be its special guest of honor at the 22nd edition of the annual Daily Trust Dialogue.
Over time, we've actually watched, what is happening, in the National Assembly, and we thought that there are so many things that are happening that, given the bouquet of platforms that we now have, we could approach, the House of Representatives through your good offices to start a partnership that will help amplify a lot of the things that you are doing.
With a cumulative audience of 35 million across its platforms, Chief Operating Officer of Trust TV, Ibrahim Shehu, expressed confidence in the capacity of the rapidly growing broadcast outfit to propagate the activities of the National Assembly to a diverse and far-reaching audience.
We are the #1 English channel from the north that broadcasts news. We have all other platforms, but so far we are grossing about 35 million audiences from across our platform, both digital, both free to air, and also on Star Times. But we are also on other OTT platforms like Moplex. We are also watched beyond sub-Saharan Africa.
In response to the Media Trust delegation's request, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, GCON, praised the Media Trust for its unblemished credibility since its inception. Speaker Abbas assured his commitment, as well as that of the House of Representatives, to ensuring responsible journalism through high-level collaborations such as the one being proposed by the Media Trust.
We don't do anything in secret. We want to emphasize more and more our intention to make the National Assembly truly the People's Parliament. And we want to see how Daily Trust, as an objective newspaper, can also support that aspiration. And the aspiration we are looking for is nothing other than objective reporting, transparency, which today in Nigeria has become something of great concern. I have never come across anyone who has accused this wonderful outlet of being bipartisan, or being sentimental towards region or religion.
With the 22nd edition of the annual Daily Trust Dialogue, one of Media Trust's flagship events scheduled for January 23, 2025, and the Speaker's acceptance to attend as its special guest of honor, the Media Trust Group aims to focus this edition on generating conversations around addressing rising unemployment among Nigerian youth. The courtesy call was attended by ranking members of the House, including chairmen of standing committees, senior legislative aides, and others. From the National Assembly, Sagir Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The wife of the President, Remi Tinubu, donated relief materials to women affected by the Maiduguri flood last month. The First Lady also empowered 5,000 women affected by the flood with 250 million naira to start up businesses. Here's more in this report.
First Lady, who was accompanied by the wife of the Vice President, was received by the Borno State Governor and other dignitaries at the Air Force Base in the state. She first paid homage to the Shehu of Borno to sympathize with him over the flood disaster that claimed lives and displaced millions. Although the First Lady had supported the state government at the peak of the flood, this visit comes with more support.
My office is not funded, so it's the goodwill and friends that we have with privileges, I say. Because some people say, where does she get the billions she spent? You know, God has blessed us, and we also have friends that are blessed. So once, even when I made a donation, I was telling her that in Ife, that I'm going to give 1 billion. I knew I was coming to her to, bring her hand a bit that we have to donate. And right there, people started donating.
Your Excellency, another appeal is that the people of Maiduguri have suffered, people of Borno, as a result of this flood. They need assistance. We are appealing, especially women, children, traders, business communities, in fact, politicians, everybody.
This is not enough. Again, a few days ago, your son, Shatima, and others came to Maiduguri and donated quantum of food and non-food items to the government and people of Kano State. Today, when I heard that you are coming, I was surprised that you are coming because you have done enough. Nonetheless, you said you are coming here to sympathize with us and further contribute another support to the government and people of Kano State.
At the Maiduguri Government House, the First Lady presented food palliatives and other essentials to women affected by the flood.
this afternoon. Investment Committee.
The First Lady also declared 250 million naira for 5,000 women as capital to enable them to start up businesses that will sustain their livelihoods.
To me, I believe that the water that you all experience is to cleanse the land, because we know what has happened in this land is to cleanse the land, and now we're looking out down from the plain, we see a lot of greens.
On behalf of the government and people of Borno State, I want to convey my deepest appreciation to the Federal Republic of Nigeria under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to your humble self, the First Lady, for all the support that you have been rendering to the good people of Borno State, especially to the less privileged.
Mrs. Tinubu said she was hopeful that the disaster will not reoccur in the future. Bitrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Agada and Babariga are unique dresses depicting elegance and glamour. They are usually worn by men in Yoruba land and the northern part of Nigeria. In this report, Hamido Yegbade speaks with residents of Osogbo, the Osun State capital, on their perceptions of Agbada and Babariga. Here's this report.
Agada and Babariga are similar attire with different cultural backgrounds that spread beyond the borders of Nigeria. Agada is worn by the Yoruba people of southern part of the country, while Babariga is the most prestigious attire in northern Nigeria. The difference in Agada and Babariga is in the looks, that is, the design, style, shape, fabrics, and materials used. Nowadays, most people cannot differentiate between Agada and Babariga, especially with a touch of modernity in their designs.
The Agbada and Babarigas are the clothes, they are ceremonial clothes being used by Yorubas and Hausas. Yorubas make use of Agbada, while Hausas make use of Babarigas.
And Babariga, to me, is a similar dress worn mainly by Hausa and Fulani men. To me, Agbada is heavier, is longer, while Babariga is a bit smaller and is usually not as long as Agbada.
Agbada is common in Osun State, but Babariga is not popular here. These tailors in Osogbo, Osun State say there is no demand for Babariga from their customers like the Agada.
Agbada is Yoruba cloth. Babariga is Hausa cloth. We used to put Babariga in our area for wedding or naming ceremony and many occasions. And then Yoruba people, they used to put Agbada in their occasions.
This one is Agbada. This one is trouser of Agbada. This one is inner top of Agbada. Its workmanship of Agbada is 30,000 naira. Completes both Agbada, inner and trouser. The cost of money for material, the 7 trouser lengths and they use them for complete. The cost of the material is 49,000 naira. Then the zone is 30,000 naira. Altogether, maybe 75,000 naira.
Agada and Babariga are still in vogue, especially for occasions, but they are not commonly used as official wears due to their unique designs. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
The World Bank has urged the federal government not to reverse the ongoing economic reforms, warning that it may have negative implications for the country. Removal of fuel subsidy and abolishing multiple foreign exchange systems were policies introduced by the current administration on day one in office. While the federal government has consistently defended the policies, many Nigerians have complained about their implications on the masses. Palm fuel price which was 198 naira at the time the government of President Bola Tinubu removed subsidy, now sells above 1,000 naira. 1 naira, which traded below 600 naira for $1, is now above 1,700 naira in the parallel market. Speaking at the launch of the Nigeria Development Update NDU report in Abuja on Thursday, the World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Nyako, said while the reforms may bring hardship, they were necessary for the nation's long-term stability. He said Nigeria requires the next 10 to 15 years to establish itself as a leading economic power in sub-Saharan Africa and the global stage. But Country Director of ActionAid Nigeria, Andrew Mamedu, rejected this, saying the World Bank's chief's comment was insulting to the millions of Nigerians living through unprecedented economic hardship. For more in business, let's now join Yusuf Akogu.
Time for some business stories. Against the backdrop of huge infrastructure deficit in the country, investment of pension fund into infrastructure has continued to hover around 1%, falling far below the 15% benchmark stipulated in the Pension Reform Act. The development, according to experts, is due to non-availability of eligible instruments in the financial market as the investment climate in the infrastructure sector remain unattractive. The pension industry report for August released by the National Pension Commission (PENCOM) showed out why total pension fund assets stood at 21.1 trillion naira. Investment into infrastructure funds stood at 172.5 billion naira, indicating 0.82% of total pension fund assets. Further analysis shows that in the month of July, investment into infrastructure funds was 169.7 billion naira, representing 0.81% of the 20.9 trillion naira total pension asset fund. The Ministry of Finance Incorporated has partnered with key stakeholders to introduce the Credit Access for Light and Mobility Fund, a $10 billion credit initiative to support Nigeria in converting their vehicles to compressed natural gas (CNG). The new initiative is in collaboration with the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation and the Presidential Initiative on Compressed Natural Gas. MDC of Murphy Armstrong Tankang highlighted that the initiative is designed to address the challenges posed by recent oil subsidy reforms, which have significantly impacted transportation costs. The introduction of the CAM Fund provides a pathway for motorists to secure loans for these conversions, alleviating the financial burden of upfront costs. NGX closed Thursday trading in red as profit-taking dominates proceeding across various trading counters. Let's see how it went down. Today, leading the losers today is Agada, the need kid on the blood, down today 10% to close at 694 naira there and 80 kobo per share. Regal is also down 8.82% to close at 62 kobo per share. The UACN, one of the US company quoted on NGX, down 6.70% to close at 20 naira and 20 kobo per share. Of course, this has dragged out the market downward by 0.18%. Volume of trade 232.19 million shares, value at 6.23 billion naira. A list of 7,175 did exchanges among investors this Thursday. Of course, let's look at the top trading equities by volume. Sterling Bank Nigerian PLC leader table 42.79 million shares. It traded Zenith Bank 19.95 million shares. Of course, Jitco 17.91 million volume of shares it traded today. Of course, some equities also recorded gains at the close of business today. Gold Brew gained 10% to close at 3 naira and 74 kobo per share. Deep Cap is also there, 9.85% gain to close at 1 naira and 45 kobo per share. Of course, FTN Cocoa recorded a 9.73% gain and it closed at 2 naira and 3 kobo per share. Of course, that's the highlight of stock trading as it went down this Thursday on the floor of NGS. Let's see the global stock market and exchange rate data for today. Oil prices closed flat on Thursday as investors wait on developments in the Middle East, the release of official U.S. oil inventory data, and details on China's stimulus plan. and the northern market Brent crude sells for $74 per barrel, while the open basket dealers offer $73 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akugu.
Thank you, Yusuf, for business. Now away from Nigeria, European Union leaders on Thursday arrived at a summit in Brussels to seek ways to make the bloc a more hostile destination for migrants and asylum seekers, following a recent surge in support for anti-migration parties. As the summit opened, the 27 EU leaders prepared to look at plans to speed up initiatives to get unwanted migrants out of the bloc and process asylum applications far outside their borders. The tenor of the debate is a far cry from 2015, less than a decade ago, when the EU was faced with a migration crisis. Well over 1 million migrants and refugees sought help then, mainly from the Middle East and Afghanistan. In recent weeks, Poland has said it wants to temporarily suspend the right to asylum, with Italy opening 2 centers to process asylum seekers outside its borders in Albania, while Germany has reinstated border controls, all of them measures going in the same direction. With the extreme right surging in the EU parliamentary elections in June and in other polls in Germany and Austria since, migration remains a trigger button for leaders.
Returns are the missing link in our migration policy, and as you know, Greece has been implementing for the past 5 years a very tough but we believe fair migration policy. And I'm happy about the fact that gradually the European Council has recognized the importance of the external dimension of migration and the need to effectively protect the European border. But of course, as you know, the Pact for Migration and Asylum does not address the question of returns. We cannot accept the fact that we are not effective to deal with those who are not entitled to protection status in the European Union.
It's time for sports with Adini Ajishafe.
Newly promoted NNL side FC Basira of Nasarawa State has qualified for the final of the NLO Africa Championship after beating Junior Dambura FC of Katsina State. Junior Dambura lost the battle to FC Basira with a solitary strike coming from Chemere Matthew to secure a place in the final. Basira and Junior Dambura could not convert their chances as the first half ended in a draw. Second half solitude, Chemere Matthew instantly changed the flow of the game by heading home a perfect cross from the right to break the deadlock in the 54th minute. The goal spurred Junior Dambura into action as he pressed hard to equalize. The long goals, which the defense led by Captain Babangida Mohammed, ward off till the final whistle. As the Lafia Bay side picked the sole ticket from the north to the admiration of all the fans at Buhari Township Stadium in Abuja. FC Basira will face Lagos-based First Bank FC, who qualified from the Southern Conference on 18th October 2024 in Buhari Township Stadium. Both teams are unbeaten in the Northern and Southern Conferences, ending their spot in the final stage of the Afriscot NLO Cup. 25 top teams from the nation's top-tier football league participated in 2024 Afriscot NLO Cup edition. And still on football, after playing full home games away from home, Kano Pillars are set to return to their home ground Sani Abacha Stadium in Kano. Due to innovations going on at the Sani Abacha Stadium, Pillars moved their home games to Muhammad Diko Stadium in Katsina State. Pillars have been cleared to return home for their home games. Sani Abacha Stadium has been a fortress for the Saint Mesugida boys, and their strong home records played a key role when they won the league few seasons ago. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
And with that, we've come to the end of News Hour tonight on Trust TV. For more of our news programs and documentaries, you'll want to follow us on our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. I am Chiamaka Mwafo. Thank you for joining us tonight.